Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm Damian Hill. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight we have Anthony Kromvig, who's getting ready for his fight December 21st, going down at Canterbury Park. How you feeling tonight?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
Doing good. Once again, I forgot the sponsors: Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo out of New Brighton, Minnesota, and Mile High CBD. Now I'm doing a little bit better, and now I can actually focus and concentrate on talking to you about your fight. How did this fight come to be? I believe you guys were scheduled to fight once before, and then it got bumped back just 1 month.
Yeah. So Sean Stebbins, the leader of our MMA team, said, "Hey, there's a driller card in November. Do you want on it?" I said yes, and then he basically just let me and Jeremy hash out the details, and I was supposed to fight Jackson on the November 15th card, but it got postponed due to lack of hotel space, because I know that's a pretty big card, and
yeah, there's a lot of fights on the card.
Yeah, and we're also closer to the metro, so it'll be easier for us to sell tickets and just be an all-around better show.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and it probably ends up working out better for the both of you and the promotion to bump it back on the December card instead.
Yeah, I would agree. I like going to Canterbury as opposed to I think it was like a 2.5-hour drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, hard to get the fans to do that.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, I've got a fight on November 15th. Where is it? Jackpot Junction. Where's that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and it also helps, the fact that you're also going on to a card that's just as stacked, because that's the thing about the November 15th card is it's a great card in such an intimate arena. That place is going to be on fire, and that would be a fun atmosphere. But now you're bumped back to Canterbury Park, which is one of the best places to watch fights in Minnesota. And then that card is crazy too. So it's going to be, a sold-out arena. And then, like you mentioned, you're local, he's local. Now your friends and family got no excuses. Buy them tickets.
Exactly. The first MMA fight actually I went to go watch was at Canterbury, and the first card, and that was a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that it'll be replicated this time when I'm in the cage and not in the stands.
Yeah. Hell yeah. No, I like that. And your last fight was against, it was in Three Rivers, am I right?
Yes, Three River Throwdown.
Yeah, you were one of the only guys in the world that could ever say that you beat John Jones. Yeah. Granted, it wasn't that John Jones, but but it was still an impressive victory nonetheless.
well, thank you. And so after that fight, I was supposed to fight a guy named Dylan Klukas on the next Three River Throwdown card, which was early September. So, I might have actually had one of the toughest schedules ever. First, I take on John Jones, then DC. Know what I mean?
Dude, I love that.
You talk about a rough summer. I mean, going against two of the biggest names in the game we play. And now you got this fight. You're going against Jackson McVeigh, trains out of Warriors Cove. Good jiu-jitsu guy, but, I mean, this is one of those things where it's an MMA fight. And I know you obviously train at the Academy, one of the best gyms in the state, obviously. And what's the camp been like training for this guy where, I mean, he's been training for a while, but this is the first time seeing him fight. Have you been working solely on the grappling, or is this something to where you're sticking to your game plan and what you're going to bring to the cage?
I've been kind of developing my own game plan. I've been in camp since July because I was supposed to fight Dylan, and then that got canned. So then, I went into the camp for the November 15th, and then, now I'm fighting on December. So basically, for a little while, I was working on, combos to takedowns and just trying to get that solid, and then the next one, it was going to be working my get-ups. And meanwhile, working angles and movement in order to create shots for me to either punch him in the face or take him down and then punch him in the face.
Oh yeah, that's what we like. That's one of the things that me and TJ have said since the very beginning of meeting each other is that keeping it simple. It's like hit him in the face. If his face is open, hit him there. If his stomach's open there, hit him there. If his legs open, kick him. Keeping it simple, just putting a guy on his back, punch him in the face. I love the fact that's what you're saying. But then putting the combinations together, getting the takedowns at the right time, all of those things play a huge factor in the fight, and also how the judges can end up scoring the fight. Now, with this being his very first fight, not really knowing what to expect in the combat side of things, we do know that he has a jiu-jitsu background. But how do you think that that's going to translate into the fight at all? Because one of the best quotes that I've ever heard is an armbar is a lot different when you an armbar, the commitment to go for an armbar is a lot different when you have a hand coming at you that's about to punch you in the face. Now, the thing is that some jiu-jitsu guys will say, we'll just let him hit you and you have that arm. Now, the thing is that that's a maybe. And if you've never actually been hit in the face, are you sure that you can take it? Are you sure that you can handle it? Because I've seen it before where guys have gotten hit and they just kind of crumble up or cover up, and the punch didn't even rock them, but that changes the aspect in the game. Do you think that that's going to play a factor in his jiu-jitsu being able to play a factor for him?
Absolutely. I think that you guys know who Kelly Johnson is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember talking to Kelly in the locker room, and he was talking about how, oh my God, it's so much different, when you got the gloves on and you can hit. So if Kelly with his pedigree and what he's been able to do is like, yeah, it's a lot different. You know what I mean? It's going to affect, pretty much anybody. As far as his what his jiu-jitsu is going to do, I've seen a few. He's got 3 matches posted on YouTube. One of them is against Clay Udley, who's very, very good, and he put him in a Kimura like that and was able to win the match. So I don't think he's a slouch, but at the same time, like you guys said, there was no punches being thrown. Yep. And so what my goal is to put pressure on him and put him in positions where he's not comfortable and positions where I am, and like punch him in the face and end the fight.
Oh yeah. And now sorry, TJ, I don't want to cut you off because I know you have a question too, but this is just one of those things that I always bring into consideration too every time I think about a fight, because you can't ever guarantee that your opponent's going to do one thing, or you've seen how their last 10 fights went and then you expect them to do that same thing, but secretly they've been working on something else this whole time. Yeah. So let's say that he's a world-class striker and he's just been only telling people about his jiu-jitsu. What have you been doing to prepare for that? And are you expecting it at all?
Yes. So the way that I hear things work at Warriors Cove, and for those of you watching, don't quote me on this, but they do this kind of, it's a black belt in MMA or something like that. At least that's what I saw on Facebook. Again, it's not always true if it's on Facebook, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm assuming if he's a black belt in MMA or whatever pedigree that they have, mixed martial arts means striking. And according to Caitlin Young, who's doing a lot of matchmaking for kickboxing fights,
a black belt in striking.
Yeah. If if they're doing kickboxing matches and Jackson's looking to be an MMA fighter, I would assume that he's going to start taking some striking classes or have been taking some striking classes. So to answer your question, I've been working on a lot of counters, working on doing my combinations first and not really letting people start. And I've got loads and loads of great training partners on the MMA team, and I'm able to kind of cross with the Muay Thai team. So we got guys like Troy Jones, Thomas Jenkins, Tommy Matlon,
Troy Jones,
Caitlin. Yeah. Well, and it's funny because there will be times where, like, say Josh has some military something or some work something, right? And it's, and Troy shows up on a Tuesday, and it's me and him are the only guys who, weigh above 185. It's pretty much me and him the entire day. And there's oodles and oodles of video on Coach Greg's Instagram of me just getting obliterated by him. And so, and while he still beats me up, over the years, I have to, my goal is to make him reach deeper and deeper into his toolbox in order to achieve that win in sparring. So I am well prepared, and I'm feeling great, and I'm going to be ready on December 21st.
Man, I'd say well prepared is an understatement when you get to work one-on-one with one of the best kickboxers in the world. I mean, on the show we talk about a lot of the best guys in the state, some of the best guys in the country, but I mean, Troy's one of the best kickboxers in the world, and you get to get that one-on-one work with him. I can only imagine to see the developments you've made since April. The thing I wanted to touch on just a little bit ago, just to bring it back on it, is, you've only had 2 fights now, but in those 2 fights, you've had a lot of cage time. Touching on the fact that this is his first MMA fight, there's a lot of emotions that go with that, and some guys are able to handle it, some people aren't. You see adrenaline dumps a lot of times with the first fight here. Is this something to where you feel like you're the veteran in this situation as far as being locked into a cage?
I'd be hard pressed to call myself a veteran after only having 2 fights, but I would say that I don't have those first fight jitters anymore. The whole of the cage is locked. There's a guy standing across from you, and it's, oh shit, I'm in this. This is actually happening. Yeah. And I don't have to necessarily go through that anymore. I've done it twice, and on both sides, a win and a loss. So, yeah, I mean, I would say experience would definitely play a factor, especially if he's not used to competing where everybody's just watching him. It's one thing, like most of us play sports in high school or whatever, and, you got people watching you, and there's something different about just 2 dudes in a cage trying to beat each other up, as opposed to soccer or hockey.
I think I understand completely, because it's even in jiu-jitsu tournaments or wrestling tournaments that I've been in, it's when I'm out on the mat and I'm going with my opponent, it's full. The whole gymnasium is full with people, but not everybody's watching me, watching what's going down. There's plenty of other matches going on at this time. Well, now you're underneath the lights. You're in front of everybody. The people that were there to see the 3 fights before you or the 12 fights after you, whatever order you're on the card, all of those people are there right there, and they're all watching you. They're all talking about what's going on inside that cage right now.
Yeah.
And that does change things, the way you started off answering that question was perfect, because it was honestly the best way not to dish yourself, but not disrespect any of the other veterans, because the way TJ worded it, it was a perfect way for you to say, yeah, you are the veteran in this game. You have the 2 fights experience. But the way that you just said that, me being where or me having as many fights as I did. Like I appreciated how you answered that question. And I'm like, do you have any interviewing classes? Did you do anything like that before? Did you? Because you speak very well and you know how to answer questions the correct way.
Well, I've had a lot of experience in the public light. And I say public, I mean just being in front of people. So I used to dance when I was in preschool up into third grade. And that was like, I'm the only dude up on this stage.
Yeah.
And, they made me wear like stage makeup and shit. So, oh yeah, no. So I like,
no,
and
I'm laughing with you, dude. Like
dude, either or, it is okay. A chunky ginger kid with blush lipstick on and like tight pants, like that's funny. Like, you know what I mean? So, and then, doing various plays in middle school. I remember I was the only male to get a male lead in 7th grade. Then in 8th grade, I played the guitar and sang during that, and a mixture of other opportunities to speak and perform in front of people. This is very, this feels fine. It's the interpersonal one-on-one thing where, it's just me and them and no one else is around. Like, that's terrifying. Like, you're going to put this on YouTube or Facebook. I don't care in the least, but some stranger wants to come up and talk to me while I'm in line at Chipotle. No.
Oh, that's funny. I kind of feel the same way. Like not with I was in ballet when I was a kid, but dude, like I appreciate the fact that you continued doing all this stuff and continued exploring those things because looking back on it, I'm mad that I didn't. And it's all because I was worried about what my friends would say or what people that weren't even my fucking friends would say. I was worried about what some guy that I fucking hated was gonna think about me, and I'm like, and so I stopped doing all that stuff. Like you doing that, that's fucking amazing. And then having the experience of talking and everything and answering questions, like I think that that definitely translate into this interview. And then it is funny how it does work where I feel like I can talk and I'm cordial and I can talk with anybody at the fights or in the interviews, but then the same thing, like you catch me in line at Chipotle and it's like my podcast we
no speaking to English.
It's a show. Like, like somebody asked me to explain it or like try to sell it. It's like I couldn't pitch this, but but like I feel like right now I could. I don't know what's the difference, but there is one.
Yeah. You just kind of freeze in the moment, like it's a show. People watch it, but no, I mean that's such a crazy backstory, Anthony, and you see that translate and how it grows. And obviously, the famous example is Lomachenko, the boxer, how you hear how his father actually pulled him out of boxing and he did traditional dancing for multiple years, how you see that translate into footwork. My first question, though, is, you're in the theaters, you're doing all that. When was the first time you decided, I'm gonna go jump in a cage and fight some guys?
Yeah.
So, okay. That was that was one side of it. So I started doing martial arts when I was 4 years old. I wanted to be the titanium Power Ranger in Lightspeed Rescue. So Dad was like, hell yeah, and took me to karate class. And so I did that for 7 years. I made it to Black Stripe, which is one away from black belt, or like a 3-stripe brown belt in jiu-jitsu that decided, hey, I want to go play football or hockey or whatever. Right? Now, so then I stopped doing that and I wanted to play hockey, football, played a little baseball, and then lacrosse. So in 9th grade, I was playing, football, hockey, and lacrosse. In 10th grade, my football coach was like, hey, you should join wrestling. And honestly, I had been having that itch to sort of compete and do something where I was, physical and, you know, hitting slash hurting somebody. Like
Yeah.
on it, like football and lacrosse, you line up from one guy and you push him around until he gives up, or the ref blows the whistle. Lacrosse, I played defense, so I hit people with a 6-foot stick. It was amazing. Um, but I wanted to do wrestling, and I was not allowed because I had to ref hockey and for a job, and mom was also afraid that I was going to get the herpelurples. And which funny thing is that there was one kid who actually did. So, maybe crisis averted, maybe not. Um,
Shout
but
out to Mom.
Yeah.
exactly, always got my back. And then I went to go play college lacrosse for a year at the time. So my recruiting resume was much more impressive than what actually ended up happening. So I got recruited by Marquette in their Division I, and I absolutely choked at the prospect day. Like I tripped over the back of the net. Like it was bad. And so I ended up going. Yeah, I ended up going D3. Went a little nuts over there. And that story's for another episode. And I'm like, no, Mom, this is something that I got to do. I got to fight. And so yeah, it was May 22nd, 2015. So it would have been like the week after I got home from college. I signed up at the academy, and I was constantly bugging Coach Nat, like, dude, get me out of foundations. I want to go in cap,
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I got to do to join the MMA team? And then, yeah. So then I did like a little, I call it my fantasy camp with the Muay Thai team. So I was doing a lot of drilling and talking with Coach Ryan. And I had a smoker fight against this one guy, and I kind of beat him up, like pretty well. And Coach Ryan, seeing a dedicated 19-year-old who was, doing a lot of drills and such, he got really excited. He's like, yo, when do you want to start? I'm like, now. And so then we go through the drills. We're doing that stuff and going to practices, and college is like, I made a promise to my parents that I'd go get my 2 years of college. So, worst comes to worst, I'm not going to starve. And it was taking away from my training. And so I ended up getting a fight at 200 pounds against a guy named Mike McCormick. And I got hurt during training camp, and Coach Ryan calls me into the little room where they take the new people and, say, here's our plans, here's what we do. And says, yeah, your fight's off. You're not here enough. I got a little excited, but keep working towards it and getting better, and you'll do good. And I'm like, okay. And so that's what I kept on doing. And ever since then, the goal has been to, train more and, sort of do this on my own and make it so that my parents don't have to worry about me, but I can, dedicate a significant portion of my time to training.
Oh yeah. No, that's great that they allow you to do that, and or that you're doing that, and that you're also trying to make them happy at the same time. That's all great. And then the fact that you had besides the karate, like no other martial arts background, and how much time you had taken off between that and deciding that, what, I got to go get this done. It reminds me of when I talked with Taylor Lewis. He was one of the other fighters. He trains up at Start BJJ. He actually said to me, or we were talking about, because he's a teacher, and like with the guy who has something to fall back on like that, what are you doing fighting? He's like, well, it also, me and him were talking about that, and what my coach James Clark had said, because he's also a teacher. It's like, I can come back and teach at 50 years old, but I'm only going to be young once. I got to get this out of my system now. Is that one of the things that's kind of coming towards you? Like the years that you missed out on wrestling, is that something that you thought about when you came into fighting? Like, you know what? I wasn't able to wrestle. I'm not going to not fight. I'm able to, so I'm going to do it.
Um, kind of. So one of the things I like about fighting is that it's a tangible skill, even if you're not prize fighting.
Yeah.
I can't tell someone there is no value in learning how to not get your ass whooped. So
Yeah.
it's also great exercise, and the only fat guys you see in MMA are the heavyweights. So, it was an all-around good thing to do, and I was not necessarily in a good spot up here, and that was something where, I was happy when I'm in the gym, and it's one of the reasons why I spend my mornings there is because I wake up 7:15 on a Monday, and I'm like, getting up this early kind of sucks, but I'm gonna have 3-4 hours of happy time here, so let's go. Let's get it done.
I love it, dude. I love it. And MMA and working out has always been one of those things for a lot of people. And I hear scientists actually speak about it now. The endorphins in your brain that are released in the time where you're working out and you're relieving stress. It makes you feel a little bit better, and then it made you feel so good. You're like, let's go do this for real.
Yeah, well, exactly, and it translates into so much more. Just being calm out and about. That is one of the best things about it. Walking into a situation, if you're new to the group or something, and you can sit here and talk to people and not worry about the big guy in the room. I could probably take care of you right quick.
That it is very relaxing feeling.
And it makes you a little more intelligent too when you're talking to people and you're put in situations. You always see guys who are like, if I was in there, I would have done this, that, and the other thing, and you're like, no, you wouldn't.
Yeah. Yep.
It humbles you. It's an all around great thing. I can't say enough good things about it.
I agree. There's just knowing exactly what you're capable of or what you're not capable of it's an eye-opening experience. And it's like a lot of the guys, the most humble ones, are the guys that can do the most damage. That's what's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's extremely humbling when you walk into the gym, and the prototypical eye test goes out the way. Some of the baddest dudes in the room are usually the quietest guys, the nicest guys, and it really opens your eyes when walking around in public. It's like, I'm just not going to assume that guy doesn't know what he's talking about anymore.
Yeah, no, but that doesn't stop me from talking smack in the gym though. For how good Troy is, I always do kind of give him a little shit.
Yeah. He was in your corner the last fight. Is he going to be in your corner this one?
It's a definite maybe. We'll see what happens. If he gets the call from Glory to have a full camp for a title shot or a number one contender shot, he's going to go follow his dream.
Yeah.
And as he should, he was helping me out of the kindness of his heart. So, it is what it is. And there's a whole slew of killers. There's John again, Josh, Caitlin. There's so many resources and so many excellent people at that gym. You can't really, oh my God, this person's not going to corner me. What do I do? It's like, oh, okay. What about this person?
Yeah, you're pretty much safe in almost everybody's hands over there. That's always a great feeling, and really comfortable knowing that all those people have your back too. You work with all those people and they all work with you. They all know you. That's one of those things that's so great. And then the fact that they have the amount of experience that they do have. Now, but because we're running on to about 30 minutes now.
Nice.
I kind of lost track of time. I didn't realize that we were going this long. I just kind of like looked up at the clock. Yeah, it just kind of goes. But before we start to wrap this up, is there any sponsors that you'd like to shout out, or anybody that's been showing support outside of the gym that you'd like to give a special shout out to right now?
Really just friends, family, and people at the academy. They're the only sponsors and sponsors, like they ain't paying me shit. But they're helping me. Whether they're a fighter or like even the normal people who go there to get exercise and learn a martial art, they're great too. They're constantly helping me, and just big shout out to the academy for making my life 110% better.
That's great to know that you have such great support with you in the gym, and then you mentioned the support from your family as well. Anthony, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, man. I wish you nothing but the best here for the rest of this training camp, and I look forward to seeing this fight in December. It sounds like you're going to go against a tough fighter, and it sounds like you're more than ready for the test. So I look forward to speaking with you after the fight.
Well, thank you, sir, and you guys have a wonderful night yourselves.
Are you listening? Damn.